Hello and welcome to tonight's League All About It show, the penultimate round, number 10. And we have a hell of a night. The updates are still incoming. I have all the results in. I'm just waiting on a few more details on the teams. But a massive round, a massive weekend of action because people and teams are trying to get into, they're hustling, they're bustling for the position at the top six where they split in Division 1 and 2. In terms of relegation, top six promotion and winning the leagues and getting out of them and getting out of the playoff spots. So there's absolutely massive jostling for places throughout the whole division. We had 3 games on Thursday night, we had 3 games on Friday night, and we had the whole rest of the games on tonight, and there's no Sunday games on tomorrow, and then we'll have a big weekend next weekend. We're going to go, as usual, I'm going to go through all the results, all the scores. Then we're going to get into each and every division in deeper sense. Then we're going to look at how the actual results lay out on the table. What way the permutations are going to lie next weekend in the final weekend. It's all up for grabs. A lot of teams have still a lot to play for. A lot of players are catching the eye again this weekend, and we will go through the results. Oh, also, I will give my performance of the weekend as well. There's one really sticking out. It might be a local derby. This coverage, the League All About It show, is brought to you by the Cleaning Doctor, extending cleaning services from Louth and Monaghan. Right, let's get into it. I have all the results up here, and we'll go with the Division 1. The Blues, 2-7. Sean O'Mahony's 1-16. That's the Thursday night game. Last night's game, RD 3-17. The Geraldines 1-11. I'll have all the goal scores from that game. Nave Martin, 14 points. The Mocktas, 11 points. That was in Monasterboice, a repeat of last year's senior final. The Feckins, 2-9. Dreadnoughts, 12 points. There's a lot to go behind that storyline as well. So Cooley, 8 points. The Pats, 3-11 down the bottom. That was a big win there. And Malloch Rangers, 2-19. The Brides, 9 points. Big win there for Malloch Rangers. Then Division 2, we look at the Bars. They were beaten heavily. Was that Thursday night? Yes, no, it was last night, Friday night. They were beaten 114 to 3 points. Then today's results, there was 5 other games on the Saturday. The Gales 111 to 4-point win it over the Dundalk Young Ireland's local bragging rights there. The Kevins 310, the Clans 110. And then we have the Plunkets were beaten by Roach 315 to 4-6. I'm waiting on the Roach goal scorers, so I am. If you know them, send them in. They'll be most polite of you, and I have the Plunkets 4 goal scorers, so you can rest assured there. And then the O'Connells, they were beaten for the second time in a week. Today they were beaten by Hunterstown 6-17 to 15 points in Castlebellingham in the Grove. The Rathleys 219, the Joes 112. That's a win for the Rathleys, having not won for a while. Then Division 3A, some very interesting results here. We have Lanlear 6-9, the Piercy 9 points. The Malachis beat the Westerns 310 to 1-6. That was both Thursday night games. And then Glyde 1-8, Glen Emmets 1-8. So draw match in that game. That's a real laying down the marker ahead of championship with those two sides. They'll face again, of course, in the phase 2. But yeah, really big draw there for Glyde, and maybe a shake-up for the Glen Emmets as well. Division 3B, I'll go into all the games in more detail, but I'm still waiting on the goal scores from the Glen Emmets and Glyde game. Do fire them in if you know. WhatsApp me or just message me there. I'll get it or put it into the chat now. The Tones did a big win. Draw the Derby, win over the Knicks 12-7. I'll tell you what way that goes in the table now in a second. Waiting on a few scores for the Tones and Knicks. That'll be greatly appreciated as well. Annamin, they can't stop winning. They won last week and they won again last night against Cuchulainn Gales. I think it was 7 goals for Hunterstown Rovers. Actually, just getting a few people giving out to me here. 7 goals, so not just 6. Scorers for... keep going with the scores, Daniel. The Annamin 4-6, Cuchulainn Gales 1-9. And then Stabannon 4-21 to Dowdall's Hills 1-3. So a big win there for Stabannon. And the Mitchells, they go back to winning ways with a 2-12 to 10-point win over the Shawns after a couple of weeks there where it didn't go too well for them. Right, I think I'll attack that Division 3B And talk about Annaman and their win. Looking at me notes here, James O'Connor got a hat-trick last week. He got a goal night and a half. They got a really good start again, Annaman. They got a couple of goals in the first half. They got 3 goals. Tony Brennan got one, and Fergal Markey as well. That put them 3-3 to 1-5 ahead nearly at half time, and they could rest on that because they did get a lot of heavy injuries, and they finished with 14 men. O'Connor got a second goal. Aidan Lee Martin was excellent. But on top of that, Cullen Gale's Micheál McCabe, he was fairly good for the Cullen Gales. He got all the 6 second half points from frees, but it just wasn't to be enough. But an interesting story, Sam Kenna in goals for Annaman Rovers. He is a man from Douglas in the Isle of Man. So it wouldn't be a stronghold. His first time really playing Gaelic football. He's been well coached there by Stephen Finnegan and Fadigan, who, remember, O'Connor was a goalkeeper for Achill, Mayo Miners, and I think he won a senior championship with Clontibbert. He's the manager down there. So he's been well coached. So it's great. He saved the penalty against John Gallagher last weekend, and it didn't keep a clean sheet this weekend, but still he's really improving that side, and it's great good news story. Any more stories like that, do fire them in, and we'll go on and we will talk about the Knicks and the Tones game. Like, massive game, absolutely. Like, talk about neighbours and rivals, and looking at the scorers, Owen Brennan, he got 3 points. Good young player, back in a bit of form. Darren Weldon continues to score. Garrett Cooney's playing well this season as well. Chris Cudden always gets a score or 2 as well. And Rory Taft's back tonight with 2 points as well. And Sam Kelly usually gets a point from the half back line. And Mark Healy as well. He got a point in the win. Didn't get anything from the Knicks as yet. But yeah, that's a big win. I'm going to talk about the permutations of that, where it leaves them in the Division 3B table at the end. But it looks like Stabannon are powering on, and they'll take some catching. Derek Crilly got 1-1. Fintan Martin got a point. Bobby Butley shone with 2-3. And Sean Reynolds got 1-2 as well in a heavy win, heavy defeat of Dowdlers. Didn't get any scoreline, but I'm going to guess Niall McManus or Paul Gill maybe got a goal for the Dowdlers. John Mitchell's 2-12, the 10-point winners over the Sean. Still waiting on the Sean's details. Usually they're very good. Usually they fire them in. Let me see. Just after getting I thought I had the Knicks goal scorers. I don't. Let me see. No, Knicks scores. No, I don't have them. No, I'm going to keep powering on. And yeah, tell you who got the goals for the Mitchells. John Bingham got one of them, and the other one was Garrett Kane. Garrett Kane's always fairly handy for a goal for the Mitchells, and that puts them back on the winning ways, having lost last week, Danneman, and the week before to Stabannon. So, look, there's still an awful lot to play for. There's going to be another round, another phase in it, and we will go and move on to Division 2. So, Kilkerley, they're in a serious run of form. They can't stop winning since they drew with the Gales. I think they've won 3 in the bounce. They're 4 unbeaten. They were winning. They kept Tor scoreless at half time. They were winning 8-0 at half time. Fionn Comiskey got a couple of scores, and Tyke McEnany got 2. They were winning quite well, quite comfortably. And then it was they're going to push on now to the top 4, like to try and get into that top 6. That's the big aim. Thomas Crease got a couple of points for the Finbars just to kind of get them back, get them off the mark, and then it was wiped out by an Aidan Corrigan substitute for the Kilkerley. He got a goal, and that just pushed them. Who got the other score? Who got the other point for Tor? Padraig Butterley. He got the one of the 3 points for the Finbars on a disappointing night for them. Wasn't a disappointing night for Dylan McKeown. He got 9 points tonight for the Gales in the 1-11 to 4 point. That's a big win. That is a really, really big win. Talk about a team on form, momentum. The Gales can't stop. They can't seem to be breaking this kind of. They haven't really dropped points. They're just powering on every weekend. It seems to be that sort of way. When you have Dylan McKeown doing the scoring and consistently, it's a great team to build on. Great thing for a team to build on. And Thomas Kavanagh, the Kerryman on the edge of the square, he got the goal as well. So he might be called up to Croke Park tomorrow by Jack O'Connor. So that's a big win. Bragging rights there. It's a heavy win, 10 points, 14 to 4. I haven't seen the Irelanders team. Let me see. has anything come in from the Irelanders. Just because it's just, you know yourself, when a 10-point defeat to your local neighbours, it's just it's a result that doesn't weigh up. It doesn't sit right in terms of the margin, and not in terms of the result, because the way the Gaels are playing, they're flying. They can bring that into the senior championship next year. The Kevins 310. There's another team in form. The Clans 110. Waiting on the Clans goal score. Should get it shortly. But the Kevins, Adam Cromwell continues to impress. He's eye-catching again. He got 1-1. Cameron Maher, another player that's added to it, another young minor from last year, joined in and hit the intermediate Division 2 grade seamlessly. TJ Doheny, arguably now the Kevins' best player, most important player, most significant player. He makes them think. He got 1-3, and that's a good win at home. They're pushing on. They're probably second there in the table. Roach 3-15, the Plunkets 4-6. The Plunkets 4 goal scorers. Luke Haggins won a minor title on his own out the field, full forward. He got 2 goals from him. He's back out the field, I think, for the Plunkets. Conor Early was missing tonight. Who got the 2 other goals? Dean Carlin and Christian Nolan. Good young player, Christian Nolan. He's played well so far for the Plunkets. Can't be faulted so far this season. And then 3-15 for the 3-15. Who got the 3 goals? Barry O'Hare, I think, got 1. Shane Bourne and James McDonald. James McDonald must come up from the half back line. So that's a big win. Another big win. Another powerful performance from Roach. And that is a very significant result. I'm going to talk about that, why that is significant there in a second, because that might push them into the top 6 for phase 2. We'll definitely have it all to play for next week after that win over the Plunkets in Mel. They like to travel the Roach boys, so they like to go on. Hunterstown 7 goals, right? So they got 7 goals. Who got all the goals? Ryan Bourne's got 2 of them. Caelan McCabe, lovely left four, he got 1. Dottie Carroll must come up in the back. James Rogers and Shane Halpenny. Shane Rogers. There's 2 other Shane Rogers who are creating another one. James Rogers got 2, really good footballer as well, and Shane Halpenny doesn't often get the goals, usually in goal, but he can take a goal and a point. Very good outfield player as well in his own right, and pushed on and got a goal tonight. That's a big win. And like, you see the O'Connells kicking 15 points, kicking 16 points during the week. It's just that they can keep the goals down. They can, they go half the way of solving their losing streak at the moment, because they're getting sucked down to the bottom as it goes. The Rattleys got a welcome win, 2-19 to 1-12, maybe 2-18 in some circles. But so the Rattleys, that's a good win as well against Joe's side. They're missing quite a lot. Coleman McCall got 3 points. Welcome back Oisin McGuinness, who got 2, and Gabriel Bell, those county men as well. Alan McKenna got a goal from the penalty spot. I think he got 1-2 in the finish. John Horan got a goal for the Rattleys in the first half alongside Emma King, the full-back. He must have come up and buried a rocket into the net. But they led 2-9 to 1-7 at half-time. The Rattleys look comfortable, had 10 points in the second half. The power on. I'm going to talk about where that leaves them in the table now shortly, because that's just when you thought they're over, they get themselves right back into it. Sean O'Mahony's with a win against the Blues in Newfoundland. It wasn't a win I don't think a lot of people seen coming. The Blues going very well, haven't dropped a point, haven't been beaten, and to be beaten by the O'Mahony's wasn't forthcoming, and they did it in some style. They led 8-4 at half time. Stephen Kilcoyne was flying. He finished with 7 points in total. The Blues come out in the second half. Ian Connor got a goal. He came on off the bench. Colin Judge started the full forward. He got 1-3, nearly half their tally. But Junior Shoteo got a goal for the O'Mahony's. He's a good player. He played inside with Kilcoyne, and Tiernan Cassie roaming out the field. There's something about the O'Mahony's, they're getting a lot of these youngsters in, and they seem to be hitting the ground running. There's a freshness to them. Obviously, there's still a couple of the old guard to come in as well, like Sir Jobs or Keith McLaughlin. What the crack is with Keith? Ben McLaughlin still to come into that side, hitting 116 against the Blues. Without those, it's fair going. It's a fair win, and full credit to them. Have I any other detail on that? Maybe the shock of the weekend. RD St Mary's 3-17 to 1-11. This is a draw at half time, 3-3 to 1-6 or 1-9, something like that. 3-3 to 1-9. But RD were playing against the wind and still rattled off those goals. They got their county men back, and they seemed to stack their half back line with them as well. Conor Gillespie got the first goal, Darragh McConnell got the second, and Liam Jackson got the third in that order. James Craven got the goal from left half for the Geraldines, and it was just a savage second half. 14 points to 2 for RD. Jonathan Cummins came off the bench and kicked 4 points. Kieran Keenan got 4 points in the night as well. Just shows that savage scoring power RD possessed. And that's a big win for them. They're going a bit of a run there. They're right up there in the top of the Division 1 table. I'll tell you exactly where they are now shortly. The Jocks, they won. They beat the Mocktas. They welcome back John Clutterbuck into the side. He got a point. Jack Murphy was playing very well. Tom Gray top scored with 5 points. JP Rooney came off the bench. It just going by the results. Jamie Farrow was going by the scoreline and the updates. Jamie Farrow was getting scores. Cormac Smith, Kevin McMahon, I think top scores for them. Craig Lennon got a couple of points. Lovely football. What a footballer he is at club level. They seen him the other night as well. But 14 points to 11. The Jocks kept themselves nudging themselves ahead at all times, just keeping that advantage, keeping them ahead of it. Sorry, so a couple of comments still coming in. So the Jocks pushed themselves over the Mocktas again. A lot of county men missing there, but it still went to the way of Naomh Martin in Monasterboice. Jack Murphy, he's playing well. He could be getting a call up, or he could feature on the team of the league. So that'll be coming the start of July on patreon.com/Loud and Proud. Support the podcast there. The Feckins 2-9 to 12 points. Local derby. Hatred brings the best out in a man. And it seemed to be the best for the Dreadnoughts in the start of the game. They were flying. They led 10 points to 1-3 at half time. Looked like the Dreadnoughts are going to push on here. They're missing Pepe Smith looking at their scoreline. It's hard to tell from the nicknames. It looked to be flying it, going quite well. Niall Devlin gets a goal for the Feckins to keep them in touch. They hit 5 in a row. Then Brian Bino Devlin seemed to be carrying the Feckins so far this season. He gets the second goal, pushes them ahead, and there's no looking back. The Dreadnoughts kick a couple of late scores to try and get back into it. That's a big win. That's a local derby win. Nothing like a comeback win in a derby. And that may well be performance of the weekend. The Pats 3-11 to Cooley, another derby to bring out the hatred. Just Cooley didn't seem to rise to the occasion. It was Nipper Tucker was 3-2, 4-3 early on. Then the Pats kind of took over. Martin McEnany, county man, sub goal. He comes up the field, kicks 2.45s in a free, long range free. Really crucial, really big asset to have. Booms them over the bar. And then Danny O'Connor gets a goal. That gives him a nice advantage going in at half time in terms of confidence. 1-9 to 4 points. Cooley on the other end, struggling for scores overall. Bergen Malone kicked a couple of scores. Welcome Tim back. Keane Connor as well is always reliable from frees. Then the second half, it got a little bit worse for Cooley because despite, I think Danny O'Connor missed a penalty for the Pats. Leonard Gray found back in the net shortly afterwards. And Joe Connor, good young player coming through the ranks there for the Pats, found the score. So 3-11 to 8 points. That's a 12-point win. Yeah, 12-point win for the Pats. So that's a big win there. And then Mattock, another team, Mattock and the Brides, they'll face off in the championship, and it looked like a depleted Bride side. Now they're short a lot of players, but still Mattock got the best possible start with a kind of a fluky goal. You won't mind me saying that Ronan Kilban, I think it was an attempted shot from maybe Aaron O'Brien that was caught by Ronan, and he just lashed it home. Now it was a powerful finish, to be fair to him. He was quick on the mark, off the mark. Another Ackle man. That's 2 Ackle men mentioned on one Loud and Proud podcast. Where would you get it? You get it brought to you by the Cleaning Doctor, external cleaning services in Louth and Monaghan. That game tonight was the Brendan Riley Perpetual Cup. 20 years on after Mattock won the 2002, their inaugural first senior championship, and Brendan was a big part of that side. Great fella, and absolutely missed in the village for forevermore for the years that he's passed. He's an absolute character, Rusty, and he's an integral part of that setup and getting Mattock over the line and winning that senior title. So they're celebrating that tonight as well, and in good memory of an absolute legend of a man around Cullen. So Mattock won that game by 16 points. It'd be a different animal of a championship game, but Shane Hickey came off the bench and got 5 points. Liam Flynn got the second goal for Mattock Rangers. Could have had another. Oisin McKenna impressed also. And who else? Alan Carr and Kieran McCall had a great battle as well. Costello played very well for the Brides too. Kevin Harty as well could have had a goal. He got a couple of scores. So that was a 219 to 9 points. So a big win there. We go right back to Division 3A. Lanlier 6-9, the Piercy 9 points. As the former Kerry manager said, what was his name? What was his name? Pat something. Anyway, only for the goals was an even enough game. So that's the way it kind of played out the other night in Dunleer. 3-5 to 6 at half time. Tommy Muckian getting a point. Mark Larkin always consistent. Robbie Murphy as well. But Ian Mulroy, Pierce Hawkins, and Niall Lennon got 3 first half goals. And then it was the tale of the Callans in the second half because you had Paul scoring 2 goals and then Liam saving 1. And then Darren Malone gets, I think he might have got the 6th goal. I'm not sure if it was the 6th goal, but he got one of the 6 in the second half anyway. So they pushed on and won. And that's a big mark as well in terms of the championship and in terms of the table as well. The Malachi's 3-10, the Westerns 1-6. That is the Malachi's second win of the season. That pushes them up. They're getting closer to the Piercy as well. So they might try and get away from that relegation playoff spot. Colin Rooney rattled the net like he has done in many years past. He got the first goal. Porg Moley got the second, and the return and Jack Kerwin, he's a big boost for the Malachis for this season. Despite Justin Cunningham's best efforts with 1-2, there was no real fight back. Aidan McGarrell got a point, and Anthony Doran got a couple of points as well. But yeah, and then 1-8 to 1-8 apiece in Talonstown between Glen Emmets and Clyde. Still waiting on goal scores. Maybe it'll come in. I'll just have a quick check. But I see Niall Sharkey was playing. Let me see. No, still waiting on updates from that game in between Talonstown and Clyde and Glen Emmets. If you have information, send it in. Big game tomorrow for the Louth ladies. I previewed that during the week with Jack McNamee, their coach. Really interesting game, really interesting dynamics. You have Lisa O'Rourke, world champion boxer, amateur boxer. She'll be playing in the middle of the field. She'll be trying to keep Corbs on Louth's midfield partnership. That's kind of maybe the most improved player for Louth this season, as mentioned by Jack in the podcast. Really good insights during the week. And that will be up tomorrow. That game's on at 2 o'clock tomorrow. I'll have a podcast on that tomorrow. Excuse me, throat's getting a little bit dry, doing a little bit too much talking. The show is brought to you by the Cleaning Doctor, external cleaning services in Louth and Monaghan. Right, let's talk about the tables. Let's have a quick look here and go through them. With that win tonight, Mattock now go overleap the Brides and go 4th in the table. So that was 4th and 5th, but they're secured now, Mattock, in the top 4. Ardee and the Mocktas are joined at 13 points. The Martins secured themselves, or pushed themselves right into 6th, stay in 6th spot with 10 points. And then down the bottom, Cooley and the Dreadnoughts are still there, but it's the Feckins and the Pats are afloat now by there's a bit of a bumper there with the Geraldines and the Mahonys right behind them. Excuse me. Yeah, but the Blues lost one game. They're still on top. They still have that 15-point cushion at the top. But still a hell of a lot to play for next weekend, like in terms of that final spot. We'll see who the Martins play next weekend. They play the Brides, so there'll be a bit of a nipper tuck there next weekend in terms of just wanting to make sure your place is secure and getting over the line. Because the Feckins can get in there with 11 points. The Brides are on 11. The Pats can get on 11 points as well. Who did the Pats play next weekend? I'm going to probably do something on this during the week. The Pats play the Feckins next weekend, okay? So either of those teams could end up on 11 points and drive themselves up the table as well. So that's very interesting. Right, Division 2, we know that the Gales are going to be on 19 points. They are on 19 points. The Rattleys are joint third, I should say, with Hunterstown Rovers. That's a big win for Hunterstown. They're driving up the table with form. The Kevins, second place with 14 points. Rory Moore and Ben Rogan reeling in the ears for the Rattleys there when they're back on song. Roach, I spoke with them earlier. They nudge back ahead of their neighbours. Kilkerley Emmets go into that top 6 with 10 points. The Clans are on 9 points. Kilkerley are on 9 points. And the Joes are on 8 points. So let's just see who plays who next weekend, because it's going to be massive. I'm going to be really excited this time next week, doing who actually got where and who landed where with the wins. Niall Sharkey got the goal for Glyde. Of course he did. Thanks for sending that in. Still waiting on the Glen Emma. So that's a big performance there. Let me see. We'll push on and we'll see who is playing who. Rhodes play the Rattleys next weekend. Okay. Kilkerley and the O'Connells. The Joes plays the Finbar. So relegation teams there. So there's a bit of a chance there. The Gales and the Clans, local derby. And then the Kevins and Hunterstown, more or less, they've secured their place in the top half. But they're both behind each other up, kind of neighbourly rivals. The Irelanders as well. They're not fully. They could slip out of it, but they have a favourable game next weekend against team not in form, the Oliver Plunketts. Division 3A. Let's just go through it before I give the performance of the weekend. It is sorry, it's not loading up. I'll go to try and see what 3B is going for. Yes, so there's a Ballina Perrin on 18 points. The Knicks have been leapfrogged by the Tones, 15 points. The Knicks and Aaron still remain 14 points. The Mitchells are on 13 points, and I'm in the right down there. Cuchulainn Gales 5, Dowdlers on 6, and the Shawns are still winless on no points at the bottom. Let me see. I'm trying to see, is that 3A still not loaded for me? Maybe the results just aren't in. But so Glyde still find themselves 2 points behind Lanlear. The Malachies, like I mentioned, are only 2 points off the Piercy now in that playoff spot heading into phase 2. And who did they play next weekend? They play the Piercy, so they can go joint level with them. Glen Emmets should win next weekend and beat the Westerns, and then Glyde and Lanlear face each other next weekend. So really, really very, very interesting kind of layout. I think getting back to performance of the week on the League All About It show, I'm gonna have to give to the Feckins just for the comeback victory. And it was a hell of a win for the Matleys the other night. That shock, big excellent performance from the Gales and Kilkerley, but it wasn't overly unexpected. It wasn't that it was unexpected for the Feckins to do it, but just the manner that they did it, come back and win that local rivalry. Glyde, kudos to them for drawing with the Glen Emmets. First points they've dropped. It's not. I think they drew with Lanlear early on in the season. But yeah, big win for them. That's it. That's been the League All About It show, penultimate round before phase 2, and a big next weekend, round 11. Across the board, I will tidy it all up for you. I'll have a preview on it all week. I'm going to have plenty of talking points tomorrow on the Loud Ladies game in Roscommodore intermediate quarter final. Tonight's show was brought to you by the Cleaning Doctor, external cleaning services in Louth and Monaghan. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do support the podcast, patreon.com/Loud and Proud. Support the show by signing up there. That's it. I'm going to try and get a good drink of water to clear this throat once and for all. Congratulations to all the teams. And thank you, each and every one of you, for sending in your information on tonight's show. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. Bye-bye. Thanks very much for tuning in. Good luck.